People ain't loyal no more. It's time to talk. Mike, thank you for accepting my invitation for my podcast called Beyond Loyalty. It's absolute pleasure to have you here. You are definitely one of the most inspirational people I've met on my life journey, and I'm really, really excited to share your story with people who are watching.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me along.
So, should we start from beginning? You know, where were you born?
I was born in Gloucester, in the West Country, and I lived there till I was in my early 20s, and I moved up to the Northwest when I was about 22.
Tell us a little bit about how is it living with, this kind of disability that you were born blind, I believe.
I was.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I was. Living with sight loss is obviously a challenge, as it presents its own challenges that we have to overcome. And I think important to remember that people are all individuals. So how I manage my disability will be different to someone else who's in a similar circumstance. So we all we all have our own coping mechanisms. We all have our own ways of getting through the day. So whilst people may have the same challenge to live with, as I say, they will be dealing with it in their own individual way. For me, I try to keep positive and try to find ways round the problems that having no sight presents. And some of those can be simple solutions and some of them can be more complicated. And occasionally you have to realise, well, actually, I can't do that because I can't see. And I have to accept it. As frustrating as it is, you have to put up with it. And that's how I sort of get around day-to-day living.
But that's a great mindset. Would you agree that, what you said, it also comes to someone's mindset and, like the way of thinking? Because you can take it as a whole life disability, or you turn it into something incredible, because what you've done and achieved so far, it's just extraordinary in my opinion.
Well, I think, as I say, I try to remain positive and work within the environment I've got to live with, and some of the stuff I've done is been a personal goal for myself, personal ambitions, and trying to sort of make the best of the circumstances you dealt, I think. And from when I was a little boy, I always wanted to be involved with cars and motorsport and stuff. But someone who can't see at all, that's really going to present its own issues. So I had to accept that was something I was going to not be able to get involved in, as it were. But I kept positive. I grew up. Fortunate after leaving school, eventually managed to find employment, and so I spent all my working life working. I'm still working now, and I'm very pleased to have the opportunities that not only have come my way, but opportunities that I've managed to take hold of and work for myself as well.
Understand. And was there any day or moment when that shifted, that passion for cars, that you said to myself, you know what, I'm going to do something with this?
Well, I think there was. I mean, I grew up thinking if I could see, I would have, and it would be a particular car or a particular motorbike or something like that, and that's how it was for ages. If I could see, this desire and interest in cars and passion to involve stayed with me through adult life. So one day, and I don't know what day it was, but one day, and this is a conversation I'm having with myself in my head, I decided to stop saying if and changed it to what if. Well, what if there was a way of, if only for a little while, of experiencing the exhilaration, the excitement, the freedom of being in control of the sort of stuff that you keep saying that you would have if you could see. And once I went to what if rather than if, then that started your mind working in a completely different direction. you started to look for solutions to a challenge rather than just accepting the obstacle that was in front of you. So what happened then was I decided that I'd like to find a way of experience being in control of a motorcycle. And whilst I had this idea in my head for quite a long time, because it was on the surface of it sounding quite foolish because I couldn't see, eventually I spoke my idea. I sort of put it out there and talked to a friend of mine who lived near, a friend of mine called Simon, who lived near where I lived at the time, and we used to regularly see each other in the local pub on weekends, and he was a keen biker. So I said to him one day when we were having a drink and a chat, I want to actually ride a bike, a motorcycle.
Is that Simon Edmondson?
Sorry?
Is that Simon
No,
Edmondson?
it's another
No,
Simon, another Simon, yeah.
Okay.
And I said to him, I want to ride a motorcycle, and he said, "That's not a problem, mate. I'll come round tomorrow and we'll go out for a ride." And he said, "No, Simon, you're not understanding what I'm telling you. I want to ride the bike. I want my hands on the handlebars. I want my right hand twisting the throttle. I want my feet kicking the gears in, doing the stuff." And to his credit and my surprise, he didn't say, "Well, you're an idiot. You can't see. How can you do that?" He like me started to think about a solution to how it could be achieved, where it could be done, how it could be done. So from that sort of casual, sort of tentative, sort of step, if you like, getting it out there, because I was obviously nervous about saying something so silly in theory, we started to explore the theory of how we could get a bike and how I could ride it and where I could ride it. So clearly attempting to ride it on the road wasn't going to be legally possible and quite dangerous. So you needed a secure, safe environment. So we found a place in Yorkshire called Elvington, which is an old air base with a lovely big grounds and lovely big runway. And we contacted them and they agreed to let me use their space. Then we, fortunately for me, and thanks to him, he had 2 or 3 motorcycles, so he agreed that I could use his machines. So after many chat, many meeting, and going through the practicalities of how it could be done and how it would be done, we got to the day where we would take the bikes in the back of a van over to York and unload them at the airbase and see where we were going to go and what could be achieved.
Wow.
And how we planned to do it was that we were going to, I was going to be in control of the machine myself, as I said earlier, which meant I was going to be on the bike on my own, and he was going to be on a separate machine, and we were going to be connected in the helmets via a radio link, where he was going to be able to give me navigational information, when to turn and all the rest of it. So since I'd never ridden a bike myself before, other than being on the back as a passenger, a pillion, he thought it was prudent to start modestly. So we had a little moped, 50cc moped, and I think what they call them in twist and go little machine. We said, well, let's go on that first and see how it goes. So I got on the moped, attempted to start off, and I couldn't find a sense of balance or connection. And I kept trying, and it just wasn't coming to me. It wasn't working, and I got to the stage, and I'm not a quitter. I don't usually give in, but I got to this point where I couldn't do it, and I recognised in myself that this is something I can't do. It's not something I don't want to do. I definitely want to do it. It's not happening for me. The frame was flexing too much. I just wasn't connecting with it. So I said this to my friend, and I think it's important when you realise that something can't happen or won't happen because of whatever it is. And he, to his credit, he said, "Well, we've come all this way. Let's try the other bike, the bigger one, and see whether that feels better, works for you." So we got the other bike out. So I'm moving now. It sounds silly, I suppose, now I think about it, but I'm moving now from a 50cc moped to a 900cc Kawasaki. Much bigger machine, a lot more heavier. But when I got on it, I've found and felt an instant connection. I felt an instant sort of balance, and we were off straight away with any hesitation at all. And I achieved on my first run 75 mile an hour,
Wow.
which I was so chuffed about, and I was in control. I rode the bike myself. I was responsible for changing the gears. I was responsible for the direction it was going in, and I was responsible for getting it to stop, which I did. But apart from all that responsibility, I experienced the joy of doing something that I never expected to be able to do because I couldn't see. It was so wonderful.
I understand.
And that led to a first world record, which I hadn't anticipated at the time, but we raised some money for a charity, i.e. guide dogs, and we thought, well, a good way of doing that is to set a world record, and that's what we did. And that was
When was this? How long
this
ago?
was in 2001.
2001.
Long time ago
okay.
now, yeah. And it was the most wonderful time, most wonderful experience, and it provides treasured memories to achieve something that I never thought I would be able to.
That's incredible. Why bike straight away? Like, did you not think like, should we start with a car and then four wheels and then go on bike?
Well, I thought, I don't know why I thought of a bike. I just fancied the idea of getting on the bike and riding it.
Right.
It was, I think, an extreme challenge.
So you always choose the harder way,
Well, yeah,
basically.
if there's an easy way and a hard way, let's go the
Yeah.
hard way.
Love it.
Yeah, but I just wanted to do it, and I believe still today, if I could see, I would have had a motorbike. My first passion is cars, but there would have been a motorbike in the garage as well. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. So what happened after this? Obviously, when you kind of broke that, limited belief that you can't do things, because after this, the possibilities were incredible. You could do anything.
They were, and I think I knew I could do it. The moped set aside, of course, but I knew I could do it. But having done it, there's a difference between knowing you can do something and actually doing it.
Yeah.
And the self-belief was vital to this sort of process, believing in myself, when I was able to know that I can overcome the challenges and the difficulties. But I think with self-belief as well, that becomes, people can see that in you, I believe, and that encourages them to believe in you too. And once you've got other people on board, like I did with my friend, and you have a support around you, then things can happen, and things did happen. So I started to think about, after the success of my motorcycle fun and excitement, and what about cars again? So I'm back on my cars, which I always loved since I was a little boy, and that question, if I can ride a bike, I'm pretty certain I can manage to drive a car. I reckon I can do that. So I started to think about how that would happen, and thankfully the credibility I think I gained from riding the bike in the first place went a long way to convincing people that I wasn't some sort of idiot that wanted to drive a car for driving's sake. I had a passion that people could see, and the motorcycle record had given me the credibility to say that I was able and capable of managing something unusual. So after a couple of years between the motorcycle, I was able to go back to the runway I talked about earlier in Yorkshire, Elverton, and this time things were very different, and I was in a wonderful position to be behind the wheel of a brand new and beautiful Jaguar. And I'm quite a Jag fan anyway, so this was just icing on the cake. And so if I set the scene, using the same principle with a navigator, I'm in the car on my own, and my navigator's in another car, and we are connected via a radio link in the same way that I was on the motorbike. So we got the car backed up to the grass because we need all the space that we have, and I'm sat there, the engine's ticking over, and I'm contemplating how my life's going to change in the next few minutes. And then the radio crackles into life, and my navigator says to me, who happens to be my stepdad, my dad, he says, "Okay, Mike, over to you." And at that point, it was over to me. Whatever happened then was completely down to myself and what I decided to do. And I could decide to sit there and do nothing, or I could decide to have the most wonderful experience I've ever had. So I went for the latter. I buried my foot into the carpet on the accelerator, and the car leapt into life in the most wonderful way. And before I know it, I was hurtling down the runway at some very lovely speeds. And by the time I got to the other end, I had achieved 155 miles an hour, which was wonderful and a very treasured memory. To be out of the passenger seat and in the driver's seat, in control of the vehicle, whatever that vehicle was going to do, whatever was going to happen, good or bad, was going to be down to me.
So there was no one with you in that car. It was again just a radio connection.
Just a radio, yeah. No one, and that's the way I wanted it. I wanted to be me and a machine, and that's what it was, me and my machine, like it would be if I could see. And that opened up a lot of possibilities, and you never know really where things are going to go, what's around the corner. And one thing that I've got in common with anybody else in the world, no one can see around corners. And I started to meet a lot of people who unfortunately have been struck down with disability through adult life, through illness or accident in adult life. And the consequences of these disabilities for these people was that they had to relinquish their driving license. Mm-hmm. So I got quite a bit of notoriety from the car event and the motorcycle event. And people would say to me, "I wish I could get behind the wheel again." And whatever challenge they were dealing with, and very varied, the one common theme I was hearing from them is that's what they miss most: the ability to drive, the fact that they can't do that anymore, that loss of independence, just be able to go where you want, when you want, without having to bother anybody else, and that loss of freedom, I guess. So and I empathised completely with that. Although I'd never been able to jump in the car and go where I want when I wanted, I understood that desire and that freedom that you would get. So it started me to think about how I could do the same for them that I did for myself and get them behind the wheel again, if only for a little while. Not to do world records, but to enjoy a driving experience. Mm-hmm. So I had this idea floating around in my mind for probably 4 or 5 years or so, and I'm homing it, refining it, how it would work, how I could make it work, how I could make it exciting but safe. And what I did eventually is it's got to come out of your mind, it's got to come out of your head, it's got to get into the world. So, and the first way of doing that is to tell somebody. So I had a chat to my friend John, who had helped me in a great deal with my car record and finding the car and supporting the attempt and getting people around us to make it happen. And I spoke to him and told him what my idea was and why I had the idea and what it potentially could achieve. And I say my idea, it wasn't because I thought it was an idea that people would want. It was an idea based on what people were telling me that they missed and would like to do again. So John listened to my story, listened to what I wanted to say, and he agreed to help me and see where it is, where this journey would take us. So from one person, there's now two. There's two people thinking about this idea, and that multiplies. So once you start talking to other people, and as people start listening, then things will happen. And that's
would you advise people who have ideas and passion in their heads thinking about it, like to tell the world, because that's what helped you basically.
Yeah.
You were expressing your passion and your
right.
thoughts, and then you brought it into reality later
That's
on.
what. But for me, my experience is that keeping it in my head or attempting to do something on my own was probably not going to be successful. So I recognise that for me, I would need support, I would need help, and I need people to know about it, because no man's an island, no woman's an island, no person's an island. And explaining and talking to John about my idea means it is out in the open. You can hear your idea for the first time that's outside of your head, in my case, and someone's reaction to it. And his reaction was a positive one. So we had no idea how we were going to bring it to fruition, no idea how it was going to move forward or when it would move forward, but from just an idea in my mind, now someone else knew about it. And that meant that someone else was able to talk about it to other people. And by talking about it to other people started to listen. And once they listened, thankfully, they took notice and I got support. We managed to bring the idea to reality by meeting a wonderful local Wigan businessman. And he heard my story, he heard my idea, my passion to bring the exhilaration and excitement to other people. And he agreed to fund the first car that we had. And he's not someone who wants publicity, so I'm not going to say who it is.
That's fine.
Because he's a very wonderful person, but he didn't do it to help us for publicity. He did it because he heard what we said, what our idea was, and was able to assist. So we had our first car, and then we had to find venues that we could use our car and give people the opportunity. And we started off modestly. We say we got one car now, and we used to use car parks, nice big car parks, where people would come along in our specially adapted cars with our instructor, and they would get the chance to drive. And one of our first people to get behind the wheel was a chappie who used to drive for a living. He was a lorry driver, so his livelihood was depending on his ability to see and drive a vehicle. And unfortunately for him, he banged his head at work one day. He went home feeling a bit groggy, went to bed and woke up and he couldn't see a thing. And he had to deal with that terrible realization, that reality that his life had changed in a very negative way forever, and also the reality that he'd lost his livelihood overnight. And he come to terms with his challenge. He got out of bed, he got on with his life, he found a way forward, and we were able to give him the opportunity to do something he took for granted, but also loved doing, and we put him back behind the wheel. And that was a wonderful moment for him and his family. And he went home very happy and really very sort of buoyed up by the fact that he'd done something like me that he thought he never would ever again. And that was in 2012. And now we are in a wonderful position where we can take our cars around the country to not car parks anymore, because our reputation is enabled us to encourage venues to support us. locally here in Three Sisters, a racetrack in Wigan, supporters and have done for many years. So we have racetracks that we go to now around the country, and from modest beginnings with one car, we now have 8.
8 cars.
Uh,
Wow.
and
So
so about the
was that
background
first
noise, that's my dog lying down.
was that first car beginning of your charity, Speed of Sight?
It was.
Yeah,
So Speed
okay.
of Sight was born when our first car arrived, and we now have 8. As I say, we've got 5 track cars and 3 off-road buggies. So we try to provide track experiences and off-road driving experiences.
And how often are these experiences or events?
Yeah, we run our season typically from March to October. Our cars are open top, so in the winter months like November, January, and all that sort of thing, too cold, too
Yeah.
wet. So we try to do it summer, spring, and autumn. And then we run usually about twice a month at different venues. And the cars work simply. They have dual controls in the way that you'd experience in a tuition car or learner car when you learn to drive, the extra pedals on the passenger side. But additionally, our cars for our instructors have a linked steering wheel as well. So the instructor is able to assist as much or as little as required when the individual is having their driving experience.
I understand. So you are targeting basically people who never been able to drive the car, and I believe you've got some people who are regularly attending these events.
Yeah, we do. So when I first had the idea and when we first set the charity up, I expected to be working with people in adult life who'd been struck down with a disability. What I didn't imagine, which is the reality now, is that probably about half of our drivers are young children and teenagers, and they sadly will never be in a position, because of the disability they're living with, in a position to take a driving test.
Mm-hmm.
So we work with children from 7,
Okay.
and we have no other. We don't have any other age restriction. 7 is the only age restriction we have. There's no upper age limit, and there's no one that's got a disability that we turn away. We always try to do whatever we can to get the individual behind the wheel if that's what they want to do.
Your world is full of possibilities, In your world, people can drive at age of 7. In normal world, it's usually 18. I remember
right.
first time when I was behind the wheel, my auntie put some pillows under my bum because I couldn't see
Yes.
through the windscreen.
Yeah.
I was around 11, 12,
Yeah.
and she taught me how to drive a car. But it helped me a lot because when I was 18, I could already drive a car, when I was passing my
Yeah.
driving license test.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. And how people donate, or are you targeting businesses who can help you?
We do. We are funded by the generosity of business owners and the general public.
Mm-hmm.
And we have obviously our charity is called Speed of Sight, and you can go to our website speedofsight.org, and there you'll be able to see what it is that we do, the people that we work with, and the excitement and joy that they get from being behind the wheel. And there's modest ways of helping the charity through volunteering, which without our volunteers, who are wonderful people, the charity wouldn't exist. It just wouldn't be able to operate. And then obviously donating to us, which means that we're able to run our cars and provide the experices that
maintain
that
them
we do.
and all that.
That's
It costs money, obviously.
Obviously it does, yeah.
What I'm really interested about is your mindset. When did it change? Like when you talked about self-belief, it's not something that you just wake up and you think like, you know what, I should change my mindset and I should change my self-belief. For me, it was books. I read a lot of books, and obviously I was reading about books from motivational people like Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, and when you read motivational stuff, then obviously it triggers something in your mind, and you can change that way. But what was it for you? Did you listen to some inspirational books, or
No,
because
I don't think I did particularly. What I needed to do, from sort of, realizing going to school and getting a job and finding work to support myself and my family, and I needed to, and I wanted to be out there making a difference for myself and my people around me. And that took determination, like it does anyone that's trying to set out in the world. And you overcome challenges, and the way I chose to overcome challenges is to see an obstacle or a barrier, and that is something that has to be gone round or climbed over. And it's something that's in the way, but you can get around it or you can go over it. And I always maintained that within my career, that there's always a way to achieve. It's just the way it is. You have to look for it. And I think for me, when I decided to see whether I could get involved and enjoy that excitement and freedom I've been talking about, it simply came one morning and I don't know which particular morning it was, but I was walking to the bus stop to get on the bus to go to work, and it was raining, and my car that my wife drives was on the drive, and I thought, if I could see now, I'd be getting in the car and I wouldn't be getting wet. And that's if. And then the what if come into effect. Well, I can't drive the car to work, but I could probably have a way of finding a way of driving it and enjoying it. And that's what happened. I think a rainy day one day, going to work.
change everything?
Yeah, simple as that.
Wow, it's incredible. Who's involved in this charity as well? Have you got any business partner in it? Or?
Yeah, well, we have my friend and co-founder John Galloway. We set the charity up together, and we have a wonderful volunteer base who comprise of instructors to help the people drive the cars, and other people that will come and volunteer on a day to help get the people in the cars, to help meet and greet, to help marshal the circuit. We have a wonderful group of UK marshals who come to different circuits around the country and marshal, so we can keep people safe while they're having a good time and enjoying driving. And we have a business community which helps to fund our operation. We have a wonderful group of businesses which we call our Inspire Club. So these businesses support us, and we find them inspirational because they enable us to bring joy to people in the way that we do. So our Inspire Club is a group of businesses, around about 100 now, and they get involved with volunteering and also modest donations. And then we have our larger companies that will donate larger amounts. And if you want to know who they are, onto our website, have a look. I'm reluctant to do a list of people that support us because I wouldn't want to do anyone. I wouldn't want to miss anybody out. That would be very sad definitely. To miss someone out. So the businesses that support us and the volunteers and the individuals do it. They are such a vital part of our operation, and they're so wonderful to keep us doing the things that we do.
So if anyone would like to donate, can they do it through your website, Speed of Sight?
They can. They go to our website, speedofsight.org. They can donate. They can look at different ways of helping us, whether that's from a business perspective or from a personal perspective. Or they can do the old-fashioned thing, which I quite like, is pick the phone up and give us a call. Hopefully you'll be able to put our number up on the screen at the end and give us a ring, and we can have a chat and find out where we are on our website, which events we've got in your area, and come and see what we do. You're very welcome. Spectators are welcome to come and see, join in, and get involved with the excitement and the fun.
And are you based in Manchester? Your offices?
Yeah, we're based in Farnworth in Bolton.
In Farnworth.
Our offices are there. And our local circuit, as we like to say, is in Wigan here and Three Sisters.
Three Sisters,
But
yeah.
we go to other venues up and down the country. A wonderful place in South Wales called Landau, and then we go up to Yorkshire, Croft, North Wales, which is Dratmon, and we have some fabulous days up in Scotland as well with Driftlands.
Mm. So, do you still work, Mike? Is it, or charity is your full time?
The charity is my full-time job at the moment.
Okay.
That keeps me busy throughout the year. At the moment, we're in the closed season, so we're preparing for March when everything kicks off again, looking at new venues and signing up the venues that have supported us in the past, and getting people booked on for their experiences. And we're very popular. People buying experiences for their Christmas presents at the moment. And we're just getting the cars maintained, and it's all a flurry of activity, getting ready for March when we get back on track and do what we do, because it's fantastic fun.
Thinking about leaving UK for the better lifestyle? Picture yourself in Cyprus. Sunshine, sea views, and slower pace of life will help you to find your dream home on this beautiful island. Can we touch a little bit on your world records? Because you hit some records.
Yeah, so as you may have gathered, I hope that I'm really keen on cars. So I talked about my Jaguar experience. But when I achieved that record, in my mind, from being a tiny boy, I wanted to be a racing driver. And I considered the idea to be a racing driver, then 155 is too slow. Racing drivers go quicker than that. They will go around about 200 miles an hour. So I set a goal and a challenge to myself to see whether that was possible, that I could achieve those kind of speeds. And over the few years after the Jaguar, we had different attempts and different vehicles, getting very step by step nearer and nearer to the goal I set myself. And I also became aware of a record-breaking family with a great history called the Campbell family. And Gina Campbell now is one of our patrons of our charity, and her dad was the only person to hold at the same time land and water speed records. So I started to go a bit off at a tangent. I think, I wonder if I could do that. I wonder whether I could hold, which I did, a land and water speed record at the same time. And we were very fortunate to find a guy a guy called Drew Langdon, who agreed, bless him, to lend me his offshore Formula One powerboat. And in 2013, I achieved another world record on land. And a couple of months later, down in Torbay, I became the second person in history to hold land and water speed records at the same time.
Wow, that's incredible.
And then a couple of years later, I was very lucky to have a car specially prepared for me by a company not too far from where I was brought up in Tewkesbury, Litchfield Motors. Ian Litchfield, the owner, he listened to my story and he agreed to build a car that was capable of achieving the kind of speeds I wanted to do safely, and achieve my goal and managed to drive at 204 miles an hour.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Like, you need to have a certain car to achieve that.
You do, indeed.
That speed as well.
And we were very fortunate.
So was it Jaguar as well?
No, this was a Nissan GTR.
Oh, Nissan.
That was prepared specially
for this,
to do the record itself, with plenty of power, but also all the systems to keep the car safe and within tolerances, so that if it went wrong, then the plan was, if it went wrong, I'd walk away from it. If it went right, I'd get a new record.
So what's the adrenaline level when you drive in a car at that speed, and especially in your case when you can't see it, it must be on different level.
Well, I think what's worth thinking about and remembering is that the world I live in without sight is the one I live in. So everything I do is within those parameters.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is I'm undertaking, including driving, I'm driving as I am. So that's where I live. That's where I am. So I don't think about when I get behind the wheel that I'm doing this because I can't see. I'm getting behind the wheel because I want to, and I'm going to achieve it in the only way I can, and that's what we do.
It's brilliant. What's the next? What are you gonna drive? Helicopter, or you're thinking of plane, or what's next?
We've had some fun in aeroplane.
Right.
Yeah, we were very fortunate a few years ago to meet a bunch of guys who were former Red Arrow pilots, and they had a aerobatic team called Blades, and we did a formation record where we flew in formation 26 consecutive loops, and I was fortunate enough to be in control of the lead aircraft as we flew into the first formation. At the moment, what's next? Well, we want to grow the charity. We want to be able to provide more opportunities for people to experience the excitement and freedom of driving around the country, get more children behind the wheel, and grow our fleet. So we're always looking for support to do that, and more venues. So if we can get more tracks on board to help us, the better.
So do you do anything in South as well, or is it mainly around the North?
No, we aim to work across the UK, and we are looking for venues in the south of the country all the time.
Okay.
Big demand down there. At the moment, demand outstrips supply, so we are looking for venues and more volunteers to make sure that we can get as many people as possible to enjoy that wonderful excitement.
I understand.
Personally, I have the potential opportunity to do another record on water, and we've got a boat that's under construction at the moment, and if that comes to fruition, then that possibly could be my final world record.
And where will that take place?
It would be inland. Where my last water record was at sea, this one will be inland water on a lake. And just to give you an idea, the boat will be powered by a Rolls-Royce jet engine.
Right. Oh, so you never stop, basically. You never stop dreaming.
No, never stop dreaming, never stop having ideas, and never stop having a furtive imagination.
So what's your advice to people who are struggling to, follow their passion, and whose limited beliefs are stronger than, their positive voice?
I think the challenge is to hold on to and maintain self-belief and your sense of self-worth, because you're worth it. You are special. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you're not. And you will find there's difficult times, and hold on, just push through. Keep pushing, keep believing, keep trying, and you will find a way.
Would you say every person is able to achieve whatever they set their mind to?
I would like to think so. I don't see myself as anything special at all, but I had a personal desire, and to achieve that desire required my self-belief, as I said earlier, support from people around me, and engaging people to believe in what I believed in, and then that makes it so much easier to achieve the sort of stuff that you wanna go and achieve.
Brilliant, Michael. Thank you so much for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm very, very positive that this will be inspirational to many, even people without any disabilities. We've got so many limited beliefs sometimes, and it's hard to overcome them, because every single one person have some struggles in life.
Absolutely,
Personal life, finances. There is always something.
There is indeed.
Life, unfortunately, it's not the straight line. It's always up and down.
Yeah.
But you know, seeing someone like you who achieved incredible things, and what were the odds, you know, that you know you will do world records? It's just incredible, in my opinion.
Well, as I said, I don't believe I'm anyone in particularly special, but what I did do is want to do something for myself because it was so much fun,
Yeah,
and life can be fun.
I think it's important to take action, and you know, not just have these thoughts and passion in your head. You have to
You
do that step, and for you
Absolutely.
it was
Yeah.
to speak out and
Yes.
and tell the world about
That's
it.
it, absolutely, and that's what made the difference. I could have sat at home or in my office, and I could have had these ideas, and they could have stayed there, and I'd never have known the excitement and the joy of the experiences I've had. And if I'd not done, and I look back now, and if I'd not done the records in the first place, the charity wouldn't exist because I wouldn't have had the conversations with the people that I did. So you never know what can happen because of what you've done or what you're attempting to do. Car record, my first car record, had unbelievable consequences, and I'm now doing something that's the most wonderful thing in the world, having the best time of my life, and bringing joy to many, many people.
That's incredible. Thank you so much again. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. I wish you all the best. You know, I wish I will be able to help to bring
Well,
more people, more investors, more people
that's
who
very
will,
lovely.
you
Well,
know, donate. And
the first thing is that you should come to see us in March at Three Sisters and see what it's all about.
I will do. It's not far from
It's not.
mine, so
That's
I will
right.
definitely come in and
Have a
support as much as I
Yeah.
can.
Come along, bring your camera and see what you see.
Yeah, we can do. Okay, thank you, Mike.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
At Rainbow Northwest, we make real estate effortless. Whether you're looking to sell on the market, off market through our exclusive investor database, or via auction, we've got you covered. Plus, we offer top-notch property and project management, including refurbishment for investors. We can help you to build your own portfolio. Let us help you on your real estate journey. Rainbow Northwest, your trusted real estate business partner.